how we start a brand new trading week on Broad Street. Let's bring in from FMDQ Exchange Place. Let's get this in with the fixed income dealer from Access Bank, Benga Shonake. Thank you very much. Good morning. Hope you had a very great weekend. Let's get this conversation started. It was your week last week. There was so much FAC disbursement. There was mature treasury bills, billions of naira on the street. Then the central bank came in. Then we saw a bit of a mixed ending on fixed income straight. So what does this all mean for this week with a smaller, much smaller mature treasuries of less than 60 billion or so on Thursday?
So typically what we intend to see is the same trend happening this week. So only maturity happens on Thursday, which we expect CBN will come and mop up, so we don't net. It's typically what happened last week happened this week. So before the maturity, you might see a bit of buying sentiments, but on the maturity date, if there's a normal auction, we expect that sentiment to just reverse a bit. But just typically what will happen, the same trend is going to happen that happened last week will happen this week. So not much unusual activity in that sense.
Was anything significant about what you think was the market's reactions to the savings bond of the debt office last week?
Oh, I don't think there was any reaction. That's it. From what we understand, that happens to be in this different market than the interbank bond market. So really, that market is a bit isolated from what happens in the fixed income market generally. So what typically happens is that the CBN sets its rate. The rate is not made up of bids from the market. So CBN sets its rate and people bid at that rate. So typically, the CBN dictates the rate of that market. So really, there's not much unusual activity or not much impact in the interbank market.
Do you think yields will climb this week because of expected liquidity tightening?
So we've seen yields gradually climb in the past couple of weeks. We see even PME auction on the T-bill side, where yields went up from previous auction. Also on the bond space, we've seen yields gradually climb. So we expect to see a bit more retracement in yields. How much that would happen, we don't really know, given that the Q2 calendar for the bond auction is showing some new entries, a new 30-year bond, which has not happened before on Naira space. So although it's still a very large unknown, so typically, as you approach the bond, we see more activity and be able to accurately tell where the market will trade going forward.
So it's early morning hours. We're just about 1 hour into your market straight for debt this week. So what's the early morning a trend trying to signify for the rest of the day?
Oh, like I said, it's pretty much quiet. We don't expect any much activity out of the ordinary this week. There will be intraday movement in yields up, down, but very slightly. Recently, major spike as per se. So this week is going to typically be a quiet week for the fixed income space, barring no other news or anything future market basically.
Benga Shonake from Access Bank, thank you very much. We appreciate your time coming through from FMDQ Exchange Place. Let's get this back to the stock market, where Temple Ashaju is standing by on the trading floor. You've heard the news. Zenith Bank is getting a new group managing director. Of course, is internal, what you call subsection plans that's been put in place by one of these biggest Nigerian bank, according to a statement released to the stock exchange early today. So Peter is heading out, I think, and of course we have Ebenezer coming in there from the position of a deputy managing director and coming in now as a group managing director. Tempo coming here. That's on one hand. They have a big oil company, indigenous EMP, Seplat, also announcing its numbers to the NSC. Bring us up to speed on these two pieces of information.
So first with Zenith Bank, let's remember that Peter Amangbo, the current group managing director of Zenith Bank, was actually the one that succeeded the current CBN governor, that's Mr. Godwin Emefiele. I recall in 2015 or thereabouts when he was announced, when Governor Godwin Emefiele was announced as the CBN governor, he had to leave Zenith Bank, and of course Peter Amangbo succeeded him. So all of these events playing out right now in Zenith Bank is going to be coinciding with the kind of succession that we will be seeing at the central bank level due to the relationship that they had from 2015 or thereabout. So the point is, it is not surprising. We're going to have the new GMD coming on board on 1st of June, actually, this year. And of course, we'll be seeing how his own strategies, what his own strategies for the bank will look like. At the end of the day, investors will be able to react better to all of that. I think Peter Amangbo has also done a whole lot, helping to consolidate all of the gains that Godwin Emefiele left on board. And of course, the bank remains one of the tier 1 banks in this financial market. So it is something that we will see how the investing community will react to going forward. Right about now in the market, the share price of Zenith Bank hasn't really changed, which means that it means nothing. After all, the new GMD that will be taking the position on June the 1st is actually the current deputy managing director of the company. In terms of Seplat is coming up with its own AGM. At a point in time, a few weeks ago, the company actually released the notice to the Nigerian Stock Exchange and, of course, to the investing public, analyzing how it will be paying dividends to investors. The dividend didn't really change. I think it's about 50 cents or thereabouts, and so it didn't change from what was paid out in the base year 2017. So basically, I think the exchange rate that will be used now should be 305 or 306 or thereabouts. So going forward at the AGM, which is to hold this month, we expect the payments to take the way of electronic dividend payment or payout by way of you connecting your registrar and account to your bank account, and so it will make it easy for the company to be able to pay out the dividends to investors or shareholders that will be participating in this particular AGM, Bosun.
Okay, so what else is coming through early today as we're looking at? It looks like a few earnings are still hanging in there as we get into the middle of the current month.
Yeah, well, basically on the news portal of the exchange, we understand that Fidelity Bank has also announced some new members to its board. I think the head of information there is now an executive director. We've had him a couple of times on our show, Business Morning, before. A couple of other folks have also been added to the board of that particular company. But right about now, the market is a bit flat. It's down some 0.04%. We're seeing a whole lot of interest in the banking and, of course, the consumer goods segment of the market. You've got volume currently at about 2.9 million, at about 37 million naira. So far in the market. The major drags that we have in the market now are FITSIN and Guarantee Trust Bank. FITSIN last week here in the Nigerian Stock Exchange held its facts behind the figures session, briefing investors about how it plans to boost its profit after tax by 74% or thereabout this year. But then right now in the market, we're seeing FITSIN losing some 10% of its share price. Guarantee Trust Bank is also losing some 0.14% of its shares so far in the market, and has done some 744,000 units of shares. Union Diagnostics is another company that we're seeing a whole lot of interest in, although that's a positive one for the company, has done some 72,000 units of its shares. And of course, UBA is also making some gains in the market, up right now by some 0.81%.
Okay, so keep an eye on the Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Okechukwu Enenama, who is coming through to your trading floor today. Tempo, bring us up to speed on that later in the day. Thank you so much. I'm sure he's been the one closing the market for this Monday. And let's leave it there, everyone, for now. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and I'll see you again.